London. I mean, actually, 1-0. You must feel pleased. Obviously disappointed to lose, but that's the fact that you kept it to that scoreline. Very, very.
Yeah,
impressive.
I thought we were really competitive. I think you've got to be really honest and really clear with the players in terms of this is a one-off game, this is a one-off game plan, this is what we have to do in order to compete with these world-class players. We knew we had to sacrifice parts of our game to really stop them hurting us. And the 3 sessions that we had to prepare the team for the change in shape, the way they delivered the game plan was outstanding. For Grace to only have 1 shot on target to save, shows how well we defended our area. So yeah, overall really pleased, and I think we knew we were only going to get small moments, probably weren't going to get big chances, but we wanted to play off the set pieces, and we did have a couple of moments, half chances in and around the box where maybe on another day we could have maybe taken extra time, but I think overall we were really proud of the performance and how competitive we were.
Is it giving you food for thought? I know you said it's a one-off game plan, but did you take anything from that? You're thinking actually this could be developed in your week-to-week planning?
Yeah, I think you've always got to have a plan B. We wouldn't normally plan to probably sit that deep. In our league, you would like to think the flip would be when you do have possession, you're going to have it for longer spells and get higher up the pitch on them transition moments. So yeah, it has given us some food for thought, knowing that we can adapt to different formations and the players can take on information over a short period of time. But yeah, I think it's really important that you've always got a couple of options up your sleeve in case you need to go to them.
I'm thinking in terms of, because one thing you've spoken about in the last few weeks is the conceding sort of needless goals.
Yep.
And the fact that you only conceded 1 against a Super League team, does that actually make you think, well, actually, if we go for a few weeks now without conceding goals, it puts you back on that platform to push again?
Yeah, I think regardless of the shape, I think that the defending mentality has to remain the same. You can't always play in a back 5, you can't always play in a back 4. Personnel available and all the other kind of things that you've got to consider, but it gives a real strong base to move forward. And the message was to the players after the game, you now have to be consistent. If you can keep London City quiet over a 90-minute period, you have to be able to do that in Super League 2. So we're looking for a really solid display on Sunday to give us a platform to go and win the game.
And nice to get a league game Friday, yeah. Fingers crossed. Southampton did have a game when yours was postponed, and it was an emphatic win over Portsmouth. So it shows to a certain extent where they are in the league at the minute, even though they're not sort of necessarily running away from you. I mean, you, as you said last week, you can narrow that gap.
Yep. Yeah, I think the 6 points clear. We've got a game in hand as well, so the game against them is massive. We have to try and close the gap in that mid-table to try and keep in touch. But we have to really kind of focus on us and really go on a run. We spoke about how we felt going into that Ipswich game, and it wasn't a nice place. It was a bad run of form, and we really have to try and change our mentality that this is what we're going after and we're going to go hard.
Southampton, I mean, thinking back with the games you've had with them, they never seem to be high-scoring games. It's sort of likely to be the similar pattern this weekend. Yeah,
they're quite a defensive team themselves. They fluctuate between a 4 and a 5 as well. Got some really good defenders in there. Quite direct team as well. Fast forward. So yeah, like you say, they're always competitive. We've had good moments against them. We felt hard done by this season when we went down and it was a handball, which again got an apology for, but it doesn't help. But yeah, I thought that was one of our better performances of the season in terms of us having possession as well. So I'm looking forward to it. Like you say, it's our first league game of 2026, and we certainly want to give ourselves a good platform to push on.
And nice, it's them making the journey, not you.
Yeah, we've done it. We've got a few big ones coming up. We've just put the board up in the office. You're looking at Charlton away, Portsmouth away. We've got some big ones, so we have to really make use of our home form and make sure we get points on the board.
You spoke there about it being a bit of a one-off last week, but you'd spoken in the Ipswich game as well about at half-time and almost getting back to being a Sunderland team, if you like, and playing like a Sunderland team. Do you think there has been some merits in almost to an extent stripping it back to basics over the last kind of few weeks that you've had to then kind of try and layer up from?
Yeah, I think you've always got to go back to who you are and your identity as a team. I don't think you can forget about that. You know, we want to be a hard-working team. I thought we were soft in that first half against Ipswich, and we put that right in the second half. And we said to them last week, if you don't lay a glove on London City, they're just going to pop it around you, and you know they will punish you. So you have to be super competitive in them duels. You have to get hands on. You've got to want to tackle. You've got to want to compete when the ball's in the air, when it's 50-50. And I thought we did all them basics right. So yeah, like you say, we're trying to hammer home the basics to get them right, and then we can kind of push on from there.
If you and the players had a conversation around, obviously there was so much pressure going into that Ipswich game, everyone could see how big a game it was in terms of the table. In terms of, we've won that game, you have that exhale, almost that relief a little bit over Christmas in terms of not dropping off again, in terms of having to keep going on that. In that way.
We definitely spoke about it, and I keep reinforcing it. It wasn't a nice feeling, and you know, like you say, we've got a little bit of breathing space, and now ultimately we're back in control of where we want to be, and we have to make sure we don't go back into them dark places where we were, because it didn't feel nice, and it's not nice coming to work off on the back of repetitive defeats. And you know, the players felt so good after that Ipswich game that's the kind of feeling that you want to bottle, and that's the feeling that you've got to keep working hard for. So you know, you train really well during the week to get that feeling again on a Sunday.
And just lastly, in terms of January, I mean, we've seen both with yourself and the men's side over many years, it's a really hard window to sign players in. Coming sort of towards the business end now, what's your kind of feel of what the window's been like, what the market's like, and whether you might be able to do something?
It's a really difficult one, because there's lots of players available, but you want to bring the right players in. You can't just bring players in just for the sake of boosting numbers in your squad. I think it's really important that if you're going to bring someone in, they're probably going to add real value in start games and really help you push on. You know, we're in conversations with one agent and one player in particular who, again, we're hoping we can get it over the line. Probably say it's 50-50 at the minute, but we won't be looking to bring more than probably one or two in if we can.
Do you prefer signing in the summer when players generally there's a lot more free agents about and maybe a bit more ready to make a permanent move and start again?
Yeah, I think so, and then you kind of know what you've got in the summer as well in terms of the players that you're currently working with, and then kind of what the team really needs going forward. So it's almost like you're trying to give the squad a little bit of a boost.
Yeah.
But it is a really difficult window to try and get the right players in.